So we have some amazing breaking news that took place late last night. Vance Bolter, the man accused of shooting two Democratic lawmakers in a politically motivated attack, and their spouses, has been arrested. He has been detained. He has been found by law enforcement. According to ABC News, Bolter was arrested near his farm in Green Isle, Minnesota. He was spotted on a trail via a camera, and then almost immediately after he was detained, he was arrested. And we actually have a photo from his arrest. This was announced by Bob Fletcher, a sheriff in the local area, on Facebook. He said, "The face of evil. After relentless and determined police work, the killer is now in custody thanks to the dedication of multiple agencies working together." And that in the photo is Vance Bolter being arrested by heavily armed law enforcement officials on this trail that they found him. So this is great. He's been detained, but his detainment hasn't stopped Republicans from spreading conspiracy theories before he was arrested and after he was arrested about him, about the shooting, about the tragedy. So I want to show you different examples of these Republicans just spreading blatant falsehoods. Many of these people very close to Donald Trump. So take a look here. Let's just start with Laura Loomer, a best friend of Donald Trump, somebody who often visits the White House to meet up with him and give him policy recommendations, which is terrifying. In response to Governor Tim Walz posting a photo of the legislator that was killed by Vance Bolter, saying the most consequential speaker in state history, Laura Loomer responded by saying, "And your friend murdered her. Hopefully you are investigated." So Laura Loomer is calling for an investigation into Tim Walz, who was a target of the man, who was on the man's hit list for some reason. He's claiming that he was friends with this man, even though there was no connection, and that because of that alleged relationship, which doesn't exist, he should be investigated. It is one of the most insane conspiracy theories. Think about how messed up it is. In MAGA world, if you are Tim Walz being targeted by a man who wants to take your life, you should be investigated. It is totally backwards. Tim Walz and all of the people on the list are victims. Why MAGA is treating them as if they're perpetrators, as if they were part of the conspiracy. It's insane what these Republicans are doing. And posts like this got 1.3 million views, 36,000 likes from like-minded MAGA fans buying into these conspiracy theories. And Laura Loomer didn't stop there. She posted later in the day before he was arrested, "Is it just me, or does the man in the mask, who they keep saying is the Minnesota shooter, look totally different and about 70 pounds skinnier than the fat slob in a cowboy hat the media keeps saying is the shooter?" I guess Laura Loomer has no understanding of photos being taken at different times and appearance shifting over time as somebody gets older. And then other popular accounts like Cat Turd in the comments were saying, "No way it's the same guy." They're thinking their claim is that law enforcement were lying about the perpetrator, that they put out a fake photo of a fake person just to catch somebody. Again, spreading the most insane conspiracy theories about a tragedy. There are children waking up without their mother and father today. They have nobody to celebrate. There are other kids who are watching as their parents fight for their life in the hospital after coming out of many different surgeries. And instead of taking a day, 24 hours, 48 hours to mourn these people, to give your thoughts to the families, Republicans are already on it, spreading conspiracy theories about it, saying he was connected to Tim Walz, that he was a Democrat, that he was this or that. It's insane. And Mike Lee, a Republican elected official, somebody with influence in the federal government, joined in on the conspiracy theories, saying "Nightmare on Wall Street," posting the photo of the man in the mask as he approached one of the victims' homes, and also a photo that was released by law enforcement to get more information on the guy. And of course, he's trying to blame Tim Walz. Again, another Republican, an elected official who should know better, is trying to blame Tim Walz, a victim of this man, somebody that was targeted by this man, for being targeted. It is mind-boggling. And I'm sitting here, I'm struggling to understand the rationale of these Republicans. And the answer is actually quite simple. There is none. There is no rationale. You and me are scratching our heads saying, how could any human being, regardless of political affiliation, spread crap like this? Well, the answer is very simple. It's not that complex. There is no rationale. There is no logic. There's no morality with these Republicans that are spreading conspiracies, and others joined in on the fun. Eric Doherty responded to calls for Mike Lee to resign based off of the post he said, and Eric Doherty, a huge Trump supporter, said, "No, Senator Mike Lee shouldn't be the one resigning. Tim Walz should." Again, targeting Tim Walz for doing nothing, for doing absolutely nothing. It's driving me nuts watching these Republicans say crap like this. Gunther Eagleman, another huge MAGA influencer on Twitter, said Mike Lee is right in response to his post saying this is what happens when Marxists don't get their way, trying to blame the tragedy on Marxists and Democrats and whatnot. He said Mike Lee is right. It's exactly what happens when Marxists don't get their way. But the reality for Mike Lee and Gunther Eagleman is that the perpetrator was actually a huge Trump supporter. So they can spread all these conspiracies they want, that he was connected to Tim Walz, that he was best friends with him, this or that, or all this nonsense. But the facts don't lie. The roommate of the perpetrator went on record speaking to local media, telling them that actually he was a huge Trump supporter. Take a look.
Can you talk about his politics a little bit? I know that you had some discussions. I just wanted to talk.
Well, everyone's calling him a Democrat. He's not a Democrat. He would be offended if people called him a Democrat.
He would be offended if people called him a Democrat. The guy who would be offended if he was called a Democrat is the same guy that Republicans are calling a Democrat. Insane.
Because of this board thing he was on for Governor Walz, it wasn't to serve. He was just serving the community. But I can't believe a political issue would cause him to do such things.
Did he ever bring up the senator or the representative who were targeted?
Like I was saying, no, he never talked about those people. I didn't know those people. I didn't recognize their names.
Any politicians he mentioned?
Well, he mentioned Nancy Pelosi. He didn't like Jim Walz.
Tim Walz?
Didn't like Jim Biden. But
Tim Walz? What would you say about him?
well, I mean, nothing. I mean, it's just normal. Well, I don't like this that Tim Walz did this. I don't like it that he did that.
Did he mention the protests that were planned for
He
yesterday?
never mentioned the protest.
What did
What
he
do
think
you
of
make
Trump?
of everything that's happened here and the fact
Maybe
that
I
you like,
mentioned it to him, but I don't think he mentioned anything about it.
What would you tell him?
I would tell him to surrender himself so he can be taken alive, because he's like my best friend, so I don't want him to be killed. I don't want him to kill anyone else, you know? So I think if I saw him, I could talk him down, but you know, I don't know what he is.
And did he listen to any?
So this is obviously, his roommate is describing in depth how he is a Trump supporter. He also said, quote, he was a Trump supporter, voted for Trump, and was happy that Donald Trump won the 2024 election. And again, this is the same guy the Republicans are trying to claim is a Democrat, is a liberal. And other Republicans have been trying to claim, like this individual who's insane, that his wife also worked for Tim Walz. But all of this can be easily debunked by just looking up a basic fact check. This one is great. Fact check. Did suspect in Minnesota shootings have close ties to Governor Tim Walz? Bolter was appointed to a state advisory board by Walz, and some on social media have claimed that he had long-standing ties to the governor. But the governor did not know Bolter. The workforce board in question has about 60 members, many of whom are not politically connected or would have meaningful access to the governor or interactions with him. The workforce board is tasked with recommending policies to not only Walz, but also the legislator. Hundreds, if not thousands of people apply to serve on these state boards, task force, advisory councils, and commissions each year. There are more than 130 in total, and Republicans are trying to claim that Tim Walz knew the guy. Knew this one individual who was serving on this board because he was appointed by Governor Tim Walz, even though plenty of people across the political spectrum are. So we have this guy who's voting for Trump, happy that Trump won the election, was appointed to a board by Tim Walz, and Tim Walz did not know him, had no meaningful connection, and Republicans are trying to claim that he's a Democrat. And also the idea that Bolter's wife interned for Walz is completely untrue. The Walz intern is a different person who appears to be married to someone else, the spokesperson said. So this is categorically false. But all of this tragedy, this sadness, has not stopped MAGA Republicans, the craziest, from spreading awful theories about what we saw, the tragedy that took place. And it's so frustrating for me, and I know for you at home watching this all take place, when we're trying to focus on the truth, getting the truth out there, and Republicans are just in this information battle, and they have no regard for fact. So anyway, I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to bring this story to you. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.